Because it's Haagen-Dazs' birthday, Steph. This is a true story, but it needs to be said that, like, okay, when I was like 17 or 18, I used to hitchhike around the Southeast a lot. I would hitchhike back and forth from Florida to South Carolina, all the way to Indiana. I spent a lot of time like on the side of the road writing songs. That was where I wrote a lot of songs. So, and I lived years like on park benches. I didn't really have a home. And so, but at 17 and 18, that afforded me a freedom that a lot of my friends didn't have. So at one spring break, because I lived in Florida, so I was right, near Daytona. So spring break, I went to Daytona, and I met like a whole hotel room of girls that let me stay in their room, and they let me stay there for free, and they bought all my drinks. All I had to do was every night when we got back, I had a little keyboard, and I would play them songs, right? So one of these girls, we kind of hooked up, we had a moment, and she lived in Tampa, and we were gonna drive back, and as we're driving back, like we had this whole plan, like we're gonna go back, and we're gonna be with her family, and she's gonna meet me, and it's gonna be great, and life's, yeah. And I fell asleep somewhere on the ride home, and on the way back, she woke me up, and I woke up, first thing I realized is that the car stopped. The second thing I realized is that we're in the fucking middle of nowhere. And she's like, listen, I've been thinking. It's probably not a great idea. I've been drunk for 3 days. And now that I'm sober, you gotta get out. So I got out, and the only thing I remember is that as I got out, she drove off, and I'm looking at a sign, and the sign said, rest stop 3 miles. And my only thought, and I wasn't really upset, I understand, and as I tell this story, I have to emphasize the fact that I was 17. Like, when I look back now, the best thing that ever happened to me was that this woman dropped me off on the side of the road. But at the time, when you're 17 and you're a songwriter, first off, everything is important, right? Because everything is fodder for a song. And the second thing I'm thinking is like, really, 3 miles? Like, really? You couldn't just drop me off at the rest stop, like 3 miles down the fucking road? So I got back and I wrote this song. Just 3 miles from the rest stop, and she slams on the brakes. She said, I tried to be, but I'm not. So could you please collect your things? Well, I don't wanna be cold, I don't wanna be cruel, but I gotta find more than what's happening with you. So if you'd open up the door. She said, while you were sleeping, I was listening to the radio and wondering what you're dreaming when it came to mind that I didn't care. So I thought, hell, if it's over, then I had better end it quicker, I could lose my nerve. Are you listening? Can you hear me? Have you forgotten? Just 3 miles from the rest stop, and my mouth's too dry to rage. The light was shining from the radio. I could barely see her face, but she knew all the words that I never had said. She knew the crumbled up promise of this broken down man. So as I opened up the door, she said, why were you sleeping? Well, I was listening to the radio and wondering what you're dreaming when it came to mind that I didn't care. And I thought, hell, if it's over, then I had better end it quicker, I could lose my nerve. Are you listening? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Well, she said, while you were sleeping, I was listening to the radio and wondering what you're dreaming when it came to mind that I didn't care. It's fucking cold. And I thought, hey, if it's over, then I had better end it quicker, I could lose my nerve. Are you listening? Can you hear me? While you were sleeping, well, I was listening to the radio and wondering what you're dreaming when it came to mind that I didn't care. And I thought, hell, if it's over, then I had better end it quicker, I could lose all my nerve. Are you listening? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Pull over. It also made me realize that as I get older, when you're like 17, 18, even in your mid-20s, shit that feels like pain later on is gonna be funny. So if you're here and you're at that age, trust me, all the shit that feels really, really bad, later on, it's either gonna make you stronger or you're gonna think it's funny.